Hey guys, what's up? Mr. Smith back here with another video to help support you. So this video is actually for week 12. So we're looking at Monday, October 21st. You'll see that it says Smith absent substitute. So this is while I'm in Texas visiting my good friend, lifelong friend. We got to keep moving forward, guys. Got to keep moving forward. You are going to work on the list lab. And then when I get back on Wednesday, if I need to support you further, I will. But I want you to watch this video and kind of follow along with me. So if you look at the plan, we're at week 12, day 1 plan. I'm just telling you to pull up this YouTube video and follow along with me as I do it. So for this lab, we're going to be writing a Python program to display multiplication quiz to the user. We're going to record their answer. All right, and then we're going to keep track of how many. So it's going to be a 10-question quiz. We're going to keep track of how many they got right and how many they got wrong. And then we're going to tell them basically their grade at the end, or how many correct and incorrect they got. All right, but we're going to review a little bit because we're going to use math.random and we're going to use some lists in this. So first thing you need to do is click on the assignment. Once you get to the assignment, right here, you need to click on this Word document. You'll pull it up, you'll click download, and then it should come up like this. So you should have a nice Word document just like this. All right, second thing you need to do is we need to set up our programming file. So I want you to pull up IDLE. All right. Again, this is the shell, so when you open idle, it just brings up the shell. So you need to go to File, New. All right, then you can exit that shell that's now behind. And now we can go to File, Save As, because you always want to start by saving your file. And I want you to quickly navigate over to wherever you save your stuff. So I save mine in my Python projects. And why don't we just call this formative, or we'll call this multiplication quiz, because that's what it is. Multiplication quiz. Alright, so now that I've got my file set up, I'm going to go back to my Word document and really understand what I'm trying to do here. Alright, so we will be displaying a quiz to the user, recording their answers, keeping track of the number of correct and incorrect responses, and then displaying the result after the 10 random questions have been answered. Your program will randomly generate a multiplication problem between two numbers from 1 to 100 inclusively. All right, so that means including 1 and including 100. Then you will ask the user for the answer. You will report to the user if they're right. Sorry, guys, my headphones turned off. So we're going to tell the user if they're right or wrong. Then after they've done 10 questions, we're going to tell them how many they got right and how many they got wrong. All right, so we're going to store our results using lists. So last class I had you guys start practicing with lists. Now we're going to try to do it. All right, this program will be easier with a loop, but I have not actually shown you how to do a loop yet. All right, so I don't want you to use a loop. If you use a loop, then I know that you may have gotten some extra help from somewhere because we have not gone over that. Let's take a look at our output. So we want to welcome them by saying, welcome to your 10-question multiplication quiz. Problem number 1, generate two numbers. Have them type in an answer. Tell them if they're correct or incorrect. And we're going to keep track of how many questions they get correct. All right. So hopefully you got a good understanding of what we are doing here. So let's start it. All right. So we know that we are going to be generating. So whenever I start the Python project, I'm going to go ahead and this is actually formative 1 multiplication quiz. So we're going to add a little comment there just so we know what we're working on. And then I want to think about, do I have any imports that I'm going to use? So far we've learned math. All right, so like math.square root, stuff like that. But on this one, we're actually going to use the random class to get our random numbers. All right. So remember at the top, this is where we define our functions. And then lower in the program is where we write the logic for the program. So down here is where we're going to actually write like how the program works. But first we need to decide, do we have any functions that we need to create? And the answer is yes, right? We need a function to create a random question. All right, so I am going to define this function as random question. All right, and then I think back to what I read here. So when I think back to what I read, your program will randomly generate a multiplication problem between two numbers from 1 to 100 inclusively. All right, so I think it's a good idea for us to just start by generating numbers from 1 to 100. All right, so again, num1 is equal to random.randint 1 to 100. Num2 is equal to random.randint from 1 to 100. All right, so that's our two random numbers. Those are the two numbers we're going to use in our problem. So now we actually need to print out the numbers in the form of a math problem. So we're just going to call a print statement here, and we're going to take num1, make it a string. Then we are going to add a multiplication symbol that'll be printed out. Then our number 2, num2, as a string. And then we need the equal sign. And let's do a question mark too. All right. So that'll be our print statement. It'll print num1, multiplication sign, num2, equal sign. All right. And then we're going to ask them, well, we need to actually take in their answer. All right. So we're going to have a variable called answer. And we are going to use input, but we need it to be inputted as a number. So we're going to say int input, and I'm just going to say answer. Just like that. So that way, it'll do the math problem, then it'll pop up and say answer. They'll type in their answer, and it'll be stored into this variable answer. So now we need to tell them if they're right or wrong, right? So in this case, there's two conditions. They're either going to be right or wrong. So we know that we need an if, and we know that we need an else. The two conditions. If they're right, if they're wrong. So if they are right, all right, what that means is if num1 times num2 is equal to the answer, so the answer they put in, so this is the actual math, this is what they, guessed it was, we can tell them that they're correct. All right. Else, we can tell them they're incorrect. All right. We also want to do one more thing here because it's going to help us later. If they are correct, we want to return true. And if they are incorrect, we're going to return false after we print. All right, and that's going to help us, you'll see here in a minute. So at this point, that's really the only function we need. We don't need any other functions in this. The rest of it is going to be the logic down here at the bottom. So the things that we're going to do to make the program run. All right. So first thing we need to do, all right, if we take a look at our Word document here, in the example, we welcome them to the 10-question quiz. So let's do that. Let's do a little print statement. Welcome to your 10-question quiz. Cha, 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 right? All right. I was pausing to wait for y'all to do it and just remembered like I'm actually making a video. Okay, so I'm going to enter down some more here so that way, my head's not in the way. But what we need to do now is actually create our list, right? So we're going to be storing their result, right, if they get it right or wrong, into the list. So results is going to be the name of our list. And the way we define an empty list is we just say results is equal to those square brackets. All right, so now we have an empty list. So we need a variable to keep track of the number correct. So num underscore correct is 0. So we're going to use that variable to keep track of the number they get correct. All right. So what we need to do now is it's time to actually call our random question. If we have learned loops, we would do a loop that would run 10 times to do this, but because we didn't, we're going to have to do the same process 10 times to get 10 questions. All right, so we're going to have a variable called user result, and basically it's going to hold the true or false. So remember up here, if they got it correct, we return true. If it's incorrect, we return false. All right, so we are going to call that function. So when I type random underscore question, it goes up here, finds that function that matches, and it does all this. All right, so this functions help eliminate code reuse. Instead of typing this logic every time we had a question, we have a function that we can call upon. So num correct is 0. We're going to store the true or false from random question into user result. And then we're going to say if the user result was true, so if they got it correct, then num correct needs to be increased by 1. So num correct plus 1. All right, so if they get it right, we're going to increase it. All right. Then we're going to take our list and we're going to add their result to our list. So user result. So results append user result. So we're appending that true false to results. All right. So we actually need to repeat this process 10 times. All right. What I do want to do here, though, is I want to add a print statement. I want to just kind of do an empty print statement in between. That way we kind of have spaces in between the questions. You could go back and add print statements for each question, but we don't have to. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to copy from user result down to the print statement, and I'm going to enter, and we need 10 of these. So I have 2 now, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so we now have 10 of these. So let's go ahead and run it. Let's just make sure that this is doing what we want to. So if I go to run module, I'm going to click OK to save it. So welcome to your 10 question quiz. 81 times 32. Well, I need to get at least a few of these, right? Oh, all right. So 81 times 32. 2592. It tells me I'm correct, right? So remember I put in that blank print statement here. That's just so I can separate the questions. 5797. So let's get it wrong. I'm just going to put in 12. So it tells me incorrect. All right. So I'm going to get the rest of them wrong just to speed stuff up. Okay. Let me get one of them. Let me get one more right. 13 times 38. So 13 times 38. 494. Well, I'm having a hard time seeing the bottom down there. Okay, 494. So I got another one right. 12, 2. All right, so it did the 10 questions. It let me input my 10 questions. Let me input my answer, or it printed the 10 questions with random numbers. Then I put in my answers. So pretty cool, right? But we're not keeping track, right? We're not keeping track yet of how many total correct. So, or we're keeping track of it, but we haven't printed it. So at the end of this, we need to add a print statement that says, you got, let's say, string num correct. So how many correct? So we're going to tell them how many they got correct. And then you got, to get how many 10 incorrect, right? We do 10 minus the number they got correct. And that'll give us incorrect questions. So I actually want this to hit home a little more. So I'm going to make mine cap correct and incorrect. All right. So now we have printed out kind of the results at the end. If you wanted, you could probably print out a percentage too. So you could say score. All right, this is not in the lab, but it's just as you're making this stuff, if you get good ideas, then you can actually go in and add it. So to calculate their score, I would do their num correct divided by 10 minus num correct, right? And then times 100. I believe that's how you do it. Math is not my forte, but I'm pretty good at it. All right, so we'll see if that works, right? Maybe we'll print out their score too. All right, so I'm going to click run now, and I'm going to click OK. Obviously need my calculator, so let's try to get two of these right. So 89 times 57, 5073. All right, 99 times 40, 336 something. 99 times 40, 3960. I almost had that one. All right, and then I'm going to get the rest wrong. 23, 25. So I should, unless I get lucky here, I should have a 20 in it at the end. Oh, all right. So you got 2 questions correct, so that was right, and you got 8 questions incorrect. So somehow here I have messed up. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to concatenate it to a string, guys. It's a float. So let me go back and change that real quick. So see how here we concatenate it to a string? So this is actually producing a number, all right, instead of a string. So let's do that. And I'm realizing I'm probably about to get a bunch of decimals too, but it'll be okay. So this is what, 820? Awesome. So that was some easy math. So I'm just going to get like 1 right this time. So I should get a 10. Okay, so I did it wrong. So I had put num correct divided by num incorrect, which is not it. It's num correct divided by 10. So let me go back and change that. So even I make mistakes. So it shouldn't be correct divided by incorrect. It should be correct divided by 10. All right. Just like that. So I'm going to run it one more time just to make sure it works here. So I think I want to get 3 right this time. So 40 times 87, 480. So if you got like a little brother or sister and they're in middle school, elementary school, working on these multiplication stuff, you could let them use this, right? You've made this cool little program that'll auto-generate numbers. So 83 times 38, 3154. Oh, I can't type. 9783. So 8051. Okay, so I should get a 30 now, right? So we'll finish it off. So I got 3 out of 7, 3 questions correct, 7 incorrect, which is a 30. All right, so we did it, right? We did what we wanted to do here. So let me close that. So that's it, guys. If you want to go back in and edit this some more, you can. So like one thing you could do that I kind of want to do is go add print statements for each question just to make it a little nicer. So like on each one of these, I can go in and say question 1, question 2, question 3, etc., question 4. All right, and all the way down through 10. I just think that'll make this a little cleaner. But yeah, that's about it. So just kind of show you what that does. So now if we run it, it says question number 1, 51 times 70. I put in a number, incorrect number. But now my questions are numbered, which makes it kind of even cooler. All right, but as far as this lab, that's all you had to do. So guys, please follow along and make sure you get this done and submitted. Stay safe. Thanks.